Robert Jackson.
Jackson. Well, so a couple of things about Jackson. You and I talked a little bit about, you know, I've done nothing but write about torture for the last 10 years and attempting to answer for America's complete unwillingness to take responsibility for what it did. And, you know, I was an early advocate for a truth commission or for a special prosecutor or for something to signal to the world that we take as seriously what Jackson did at Nuremberg when it's we ourselves who are the perpetrators. And so I always feel like I'm triangulating back to Nuremberg when we talk about horrific injustice being done. People saying they were just following orders. People saying we were working under impossible conditions. People saying it was just the law and the law made it legal. Those are all things that I always map back onto Nuremberg. And I guess, you know, one thing I've thought about a lot as it's become very clear in the last 2 years, there will never be accountability for what we did wrong in the war on terror. There will never be a moment in which America takes responsibility for making bad choices. And the ethos, and this is, for this I blame the Obama administration, that, to stir all that up will just to create more politics and to go through point by point who did what. You know, can't we just move on, right? Obama's locution is just turn the page and get over it. And I guess I think that Robert Jackson would have been the last person who would turn the page and say, we'll just get over it. There can be no closure without resolving it. We always go back to Jackson, the concurrence in Youngstown, for these foundational ideas about executive power. I mean, how could one person get it so right, and intuitively get it right in a way that would kind of continue to be what shapes the way we think about Guantanamo and renditions and everything else. And I guess the last thing I would say about Jackson was something that I've been so aware of is that we have 9 justices who went to 2 schools, and all their clerks went to 5 schools, and they all came up through the executive branch and then through the federal judiciary. And not one of them, I think there's only one on the current bench, that's Ginsburg, who was any kind of civil rights lawyer. One. Almost none who have tried cases. I think that the part of what is so impoverished at the court is experience, is having been in the world and tried cases and litigated like piddly little things that were too insignificant to matter to other people. And to marry that to Jackson's just incredible political savvy. And those 2 qualities, I think O'Connor represented the last of real political savvy at the court. That's gone. Now, I think Kagan has some of it. We'll see. But certainly it's not from having a lot of political experience. If she has it, she intuits it. But that being in the trenches, that quality of having lived life and been with people, I always tell the story because to me I think it speaks volumes of the Greyhound bus search case a few years ago at the court, where they were trying to determine whether riders on a Greyhound bus had a reasonable expectation of privacy in the bags over their heads. And you're watching 9 justices who have clearly never been on a Greyhound bus in their lives. If they've been on a Greyhound bus, it was 50 years ago. But if you had said to any of the 9 of them, where's the Greyhound terminal in Washington, D.C., I don't know that they could have found it. And it made me so aware of how much your life as lived inflects upon the way you do law. And I think that for me, Jackson really represents a life fully lived in a million different ways, exposure to so many kinds of people. And it's not to in any way impugn the brilliance of the 9 justices we have. No one doubts that they're brilliant. But I think we need justices who are out in the world and who tried cases and who fought for civil liberties and who really got dirty. Because I think what's missing at the court, and I think one of the things Jackson brought to the court, was that always having a sense of what was going on out in the world.